President Muhammadu Buhari in Riyadh continues talks with Saudi authorities on oil price stability as federal government opens its doors to potent ideas on the resettlement of IDPs in the northeast. And Minister of Information and Culture interacts with national leadership of Ratau, says to structure public-owned media for global competitiveness. These and more on Panorama for today. I am Laure, Bala, Hassan. Thank you for joining us. President Muhammadu Buhari has arrived in Riyadh ahead of bilateral talks on oil price stability with King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud and other senior officials of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. State House correspondent Adam Musambo reports that President Buhari, who arrived at the Royal Terminal of Riyadh International Airport at about 8 o'clock in the evening local time, was received by a high-powered Saudi government delegation led by the governor of Riyadh, Prince Faisal Bandar bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. President Buhari is also expected to meet with the Saudi business community as part of efforts to revamp Nigeria's economy. Areas of focus include mining, agriculture, power supply, transportation and infrastructure development. While in Saudi Arabia, the president is scheduled to visit the two holy mosques to pray for peace, stability, unity and sustainable development of Nigeria. And the federal government says its door is open to partner interested individuals and groups on rebuilding and settlement plans in the northeast devastated by insurgents. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo stated this while receiving National Assembly caucus of the Borno-Yobe People's Forum. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Who wears the shoes knows where it pinches, according to a popular saying. This aptly applies to the people of Borno and Yobe states, who are among the 5 states of the northeast greatly affected by the dastardly act of insurgents. To this end, the National Assembly caucus of the Borno and Yobe People's Forum visited the villa to show appreciation to the federal government and other partners that are providing a safe haven for the affected communities. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo commended the group, said it is important that people concerned work with government on its initiatives in bringing succor to the affected people. Laure is the Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity to the Vice President.
He did say to the delegation that if we all work from a common plan, we will achieve a lot. So he called for coordination and a promise on his part and on the part of the presidency that we continue to engage with this particular group and all the other groups that are involved in order to actually to rebuild Northeast.
Senator Aline Tume comments on the visit.
Now that the issue of insurgency is coming to an end and the issue of rehabilitation, reconstruction will soon begin. And we feel that we that are at the epicenter of the problem are in a better position to provide government with information, facts and figures as to those things that they need to do and or areas that are most affected, priorities of the people, the plight of our people in the IDP camps and those outside.
In its 9-point request, the group called on government to also consider a better future for the Civilian Joint Task Force. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has also implored participants at the ongoing Executive Intelligence Management Course 9 to help in building strong institutions of government to foster cooperation. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports.
It is part of their dialogue to attract more legislative backing for their program on institutional weakness and challenge for the change agenda. The Speaker observed that the visit is very significant, noting that only special institutions of this nature can bring about adequate knowledge of intelligence, interagency cooperation, and democratic growth. Similarly, the Speaker granted audience to the United Nations Human Rights Commission for Refugee, led by its Assistant High Commissioner in charge of protection, Volker Turk. Both parties agreed that the plight of internally displaced persons in Nigeria needs emergency attention.
The very fact that we have a committee in the House solely church dedicated in protecting the interests of the IDPs, underscores the importance that we attach to this problem. And that is because, as it is said, democracy, it's a promise, deals with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Speaker Dogara reassured them of the domestication of the Kampala Convention on the Rights of Refugees and the accelerated passage of the Northeast Development Commission. Meanwhile, the Speaker has condoled with the people of Kano State over the recent fire outbreak at the Singa and Kurmi markets. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The United Nations has commended Nigeria over its commitment to check violence against children. It came from Martha Santos, representative of the UN Secretary General on Violence Against Children, who is on a working visit to Nigeria. Joy Uzo reports.
Nigeria's recognition is predicated on two recent affirmative actions adopted by the country to set the tone for renewed commitment by relevant ministries, departments and agencies of government in moving against the violence of children. First, in 2014, the nation carried out an extensive survey to ascertain the level and factors promoting violence against children in Nigeria. In September 2015, Nigeria again launched the Year of Action to End Violence Against Children, with a charge for states to redouble their commitment in implementing laws against child violence.
And from Lagos State, we are moving around the country to ensure that we convince state governments to also launch the campaign.
Expressing the UN's gratitude to Nigeria on the development, the Secretary General's representative noted that violence against children is a global evil and all commitment is needed to stem it.
And that will be, we hope, the beginning of a long process of domino, where each and every state in Nigeria will adopt a similar campaign.
She noted that efforts by Nigeria will go a long way in providing leadership in the West African sub-region and directing the needed global partnership to end crime against children. In Abuja, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says public-owned media organizations will be structured to enable them compete favorably with their peers around the world. The minister was speaking when he received in audience leadership of the Radio, Television and Theatre Workers Union in Abuja. Anthony Forson completes the story.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed said to the leadership of the union that the restructuring plan has become necessary owing to the fact that they have lost grip of their professional competence, hence the determination to review content and check abuse.
And the fact that NTA, which ought to be encouraged, NTA, which ought to be given patronage, is being neglected, and that on the contrary, the private media is being encouraged at the expense of the public media, because we have not gone, deep to actually re-examine ourselves. We need to restructure. We need to reinvent NTA, FRCN, and all our other publicly owned media. That is the only way.
The minister said with diversification of the economy in the front burner, agriculture and tourism will be given a boost to help curtail the importation of food into the country.
So, in diversifying in agriculture, we are linking it to the entire economy. The figures of what we spend on rice and frozen chicken and milk and wheat in a year, if we can reach self-sufficiency in these items, not only will we have food security, we're also going to have a very healthy balance of trade.
On his part, the Ratau President Yemisi Bambushi commended the Buhari administration on the successes so far recorded in the fight against insurgency and corruption.
And again, the desire of this government to give the country the good image it deserves in abroad and to restore her dignity among the Committee of Nations.
On the state of the nation's economy, Yemisi Bambushi said the federal government must strive to add value as well as discourage the much dependence on crude oil. In Abuja,
Anthony Fossen, NTA News.
And to matters of education for national cohesion. Rekindling the vision of the founding fathers of Unity Schools is the theme of the Jubilee Lecture of Federal Government Colleges Warri Old Students, Federal Government College Warri Old Students Association. Former Head of State Yakubu Gowon expressed satisfaction that the dream of establishing the school as centers for academic prestige has been realized. Franca Uzoma Olwa has details.
The idea behind the establishment of Unity Schools by the federal government in 1966 was to bring together young Nigerians from all regions as a family under one roof in order to promote unity and integration.
When I saw the product of that school in Sokoto, I felt, and their performance, they taught me a lesson. This is the sort of Nigeria I want to see.
Today, these schools, known as centers of excellence, have produced men and women of integrity in their various fields of endeavor.
We did brilliantly well. In those days, when you came out with a grade 1, so to say, it was like you were not good enough.
After 50 years of existence, old students of Federal Government College Warri, one of the 3 pioneer Unity schools, have come together to find ways of improving the status of their alma mater.
With the political way we are seeing now in the country, we want to go back to our school. Everybody go back to your school.
Let government provide free, compulsory primary and secondary school education. Boarding, free. Let us treat our children to that level.
But then, the issues of poor school management, infrastructure gap and teacher quality cannot be easily dismissed.
Ministers of education in Nigeria had their children going to secondary school and primary school outside the country. Which system of education are they presiding over?
The Jubilee Lecture is an intellectual component of a week-long event to celebrate what the students call the unity and corporate existence of Nigeria. In Abuja, Franca Uzoma Olwa, NTA News.
And now to political matters. Members of the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, held a meeting to chart a new course of the party in Abuja after a closed-door session. The acting chairman of the BOT, Senator Walid Jibrin, spoke on the outcome of the meeting.
That Senator Modu Sharif is not a suitable candidate to be national chairman of our beloved party. We have resolved to propose some viable solutions to this matter at a very important meeting of the party.
Senator Walid Jibrin said, as the conscience of the PDP, the BOT was in the best position to know the right candidate for the position, adding that consultations are ongoing. And meanwhile, the leadership crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party, PDP, seems to have snowballed into an amicable resolution as Senator Ali Modu Sharif has formally taken over from the Deputy National Chairman, Uche Secondus. Omini Oden has the report.
Well, on behalf of the National Working Committee, I hand over this document to you for your hand.
The national chairman says he's aware of the task ahead, but collectively the People's Democratic Party will be repositioned with an appeal to all aggrieved members to close ranks and build the party to an enviable height. He lauded the National Working Committee for holding forth since the resignation of former national chairman of the party, Adamu Mwazu.
I have no doubt in my mind that if the leaders and owners of the PDP agree that they will put this party together, it will still be the largest party in Africa.
National Deputy Chairman of the party, Uche Secondus, who acted as National Chairman, had earlier assured that the National Working Committee has put in place a post-election review committee, Constitution Review Committee and a Youth Leadership Review Committee, all geared towards re-engineering the party. The ceremony was witnessed by National Working Committee members, elders of the party, and the Borno State chapter of the People's Democratic Party. In Abuja, Omini Oden, NTA News.
And still to come, Federal Road Safety Corps on the palpable impact of speed limiters on road crashes. Stay with us.
Had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Welcome back. You're still watching Panorama. Chief of Defense Staff General Gabriel Olonishakin has re-emphasized Nigeria's commitment to global peace and security. He said this while receiving the Deputy Military Advisor, United Nations Peacekeeping Operations, Major General Adrian Foster. General Olonishakin explained Nigeria's commitment to steady deployment of troops to hotspots for enforcing peace. He said Nigeria deserved more support and recognition from the world body and solicited for Nigeria quality and reputable representations in the area of UN positions and appointments. Major General Foster stated that he was in Nigeria to thank the armed forces for its contributions towards world peace and to assess the situation regarding its war against insurgents in order to recommend to the UN to rally support for the country. The Federal Road Safety Corps says road traffic crashes will be reduced by 65% once the speed limit device is installed by commercial vehicles. Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi stated this at a press briefing organized to give update on the presidential directive on the 1st of April deadline for the implementation of the device. Aliu Tukur reports.
% of accidents associated to overspeeding. The Federal Road Safety Corps says there is no going back on the presidential directive for the April 1st deadline, as the implementation will reduce road traffic crashes associated with overspeeding by 50%, while that associated with loss of control by 15%. To achieve this objective, the Corps Marshal says over 160 personnel have been deployed across the country for more enlightenment and to ensure full compliance.
We already have our 16 accredited vendors by the Standard Organization of Nigeria, jointly by the SON, NADDC, and FRSC. And the phase 2 is in process now to have more vendors. And with this, it's free. The vendors can do installation for anybody. FRS is not involved in marketing, neither SON or NADDC. Ours is policy and implementation.
The co-marshal also called on drivers of tankers and trailers to desist from carrying passengers.
In the last 3 years, it has been increase in road traffic crashes involving Dangote trucks and the abandonment on the highways. And I'm not impressed with this, so we've invited them for a meeting on the 25th, and I believe we'll be able to sort out this.
The co-marshal promised to come up with strategies that will pave way for the implementation of the speed limit device on private cars soon. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
Police to expand its Complaint Response Unit, CRU, to respond in local languages and to investigate cases of high public interest. The first Public Relations Officer, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Olabisi Kolawole, stated this at a media briefing in Abuja to mark the 100 days of the creation of the Police Complaint Response Unit, CRU. Edino Justice has details.
The unit, which was established on the 13th of November 2015, is a community-oriented complaint response unit.
Provide real-time interface for the public to report police unprofessional conducts using social media. 100 days of its establishment, how far has the public taken it?
It's a welcome idea. It's a good thing that we should have something like that. I mean, people can just make their complaints known to the police.
Since I've witnessed several IGPs, but this man is okay.
With this public acceptance and the will to build more confidence in the police, the Force PPRO says within each 100 days, the unit has received 1,946 complaints, resolved 1,522. In all, Lagos State top with 422 complaints, representing 33%.
Disciplinary actions against officers up to the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police. Several officers have been redeployed from duty posts, and junior officers are facing serious disciplinary actions for professional misconduct.
There is a consistent, drastic reduction in complaints.
Mrs. Olabisi noted that the personnel of the unit have had training on international complaint response with high sense of responsibility and integrity. Aiding our justice, NTA News.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has deployed additional trucks of petrol to overcome the emerging fuel queues in some petrol stations within the Federal Capital Territory. In a statement signed by Ohi Alegbe, Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs, the corporation explained that the increase from 160 trucks daily to 250 trucks is to arrest the lull experienced during last weekend's State House of Assembly rerun election in Niger State, which affected trucks movement from the Suleja depot. The statement also states that the PPMC has stepped up monitoring across petrol stations to ensure compliance with laid-down rules on the sales and distribution of the products. Nigeria and Chinese governments have indicated interest to extend relations to the water sector. This was stated when Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu received the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Gu Xiaojie. Musbao Wahab reports.
6 years down the bilateral journey, China is still considered one of Nigeria's closest allies and partners. And lately, meetings between their two leaders are pointers to the fact that the nations are not giving up yet in growing their bilateral trade and strategic cooperation. Now, warm as the handshake is a new desire to expand the partnership to the water sector, with Nigeria for now utilizing only 10% of about 3.1 million hectares of irrigable land. Water Resources Minister Suleiman Adamu believes Nigeria, longing to make agriculture a flagship program, can learn from the Chinese model.
So there's a huge potential for irrigation development in Nigeria, and we welcome any kind of partnership and support from our friends.
Irrigated or fertile lands yet to be tapped, we needs more conditions like the security and also finance and infrastructure, but potentials are there.
The Water Resources Minister and the Chinese ambassador say the two countries, one the biggest economy in Africa and the other the second biggest in the world, have a lot of experiences to share. In Abuja, Musbao and Wahab, NTA News.
The need for senior heads of finance officers of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, to acquaint themselves with government programs and key into efforts towards stimulating the economy through stringent financial discipline has been stressed. The Acting Director General, Philip Ofegbu, said this at the Heads of Finance and Chief Accountants Conference. Joseph Johnson reports.
Following the directive by the federal government on strict compliance and enforcement of the Fiscal Responsibility Act and public expenditure reforms in ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, these officials are reconciling the station's accounts and addressing pressing issues preparatory to the arrival of the external auditor. The Acting Director General, NTA, Philip Ofegbu, commended the Finance Department for its timely contributions to the Treasury Single Account, TSA. He addressed issues on staff training, promotion, and of course stressed that periodic remittance of statutory deductions to headquarters is sacrosanct, as the 14 stations shall be penalized.
Be steadfast in ensuring that the revenue is husbanded properly, and that whatever remark is made, the only way you can justify it is to ensure that at the end of the day, the key areas of operations, wherever you are, is not abandoned.
This presupposes that all items of expenditure must be critically verified and justified before inclusion in the budget.
The managers of the authority's finance are expected to spend 3 days in Abuja for the reconciliation exercise, which invariably is supposed to move the station forward. In Abuja, I'm Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
And talking sports, action intensifies in the Abuja Squash Racket League as UEFA Champions League continues Tuesday. Details with correspondent Amanzi Marcos.
About 25 athletes drawn from 5 council areas of the FCT are competing in the maiden Abuja Squash Racket League, which got underway at the Package B section of the Abuja National Stadium on Saturday. Organized by the Abuja Squash Racket veterans, the league, which will end on the 12th of March, is aimed at further integrating the sport in the FCT and is to be played quarterly.
I think the situation of the federation, I think, has been addressed. Very soon you will start seeing competition. By the grace of God, before the end of the year, we are likely to have up to 5 championships.
Week 1 of the 2015-2016 Nigeria Professional Football League produced one of the standout matchday results in the history of the league, with 4 away victories recorded. Newly promoted MFM stunned CAF Confederations Cup contenders Nasarawa United by 2-1. A development experts say will eventually eradicate the win-at-home syndrome in the league.
Also, an amazing weekend we had. At least we know football actions has returned back to Nigeria, and plenty fans will have to be trooping in mass to various stadiums across the country to watch Nigerian League.
European heavyweights continue their quest for quarter-final places in the second phase first leg of the UEFA Champions League, which continues on Tuesday. Defending champions FC Barcelona are already in London ahead of their clash against Arsenal, just as last season's finalists Juventus take on Bayern Munich. Kelechi Iheanacho is in line to make a Champions League debut when Manchester City play away at Dynamo Kiev on Wednesday. With Sports News Update, Amanzi Marcus, NTA News.
And that's our package on Panorama. Join us at 4 for more reports. Good afternoon.